Whether it's the Lost Library of Alexandria or digital shows that never got a physical release, the Land of Lost Works have claimed countless stories and tales over the years. Like in the ancient Egyptian writings found on the Westcar Papyrus. Hello everyone, I'm AU Thor.
You can call me Jazz.
And in ancient Egyptian literature, countless stories have been unearthed about Egyptian mythology in the Book of the Dead and detailing the lives of rulers like King Ramses or Cleopatra, but even more haven't survived the centuries. Sure, the pyramid texts and coffin texts carved around mummies tend to last much longer because the scribes carved them in stone, but ancient Egyptian papyrus doesn't last nearly as long. This is what happened to the Tales of Wonder, the stories contained in the Westcar Papyrus. On November 6, 1823, British adventurer Henry Westcar landed in Alexandria, Egypt, with 3 traveling companions, Frederick Catherwood, Henry Park, and Joseph John Scholas, and started a journal. Their travels took them along the Nile River, but it was an adventure that seemed doomed from the start. Between plagues and a violent uprising the following year, Westcar and company had a rough time abroad. However, during that time, Westcar purchased the artifact in question, but the circumstances surrounding his discovery are mostly shrouded in mystery. Allegedly, it eventually fell into the hands of his niece, whose name I could not track down no matter where I looked, possibly Frances or Sophia. While the finding and namesake come from Westcar, he wasn't the first to read its contents. No, that honor likely went to German Egyptologist Carl Richard Lipsius in 1839, when he either purchased the artifact from maybe Frances, maybe Sophia, or obtained it illegally. So, yeah, an Indiana Jones villain won this round.
That belongs in a museum! So do you!
After I recorded this, I did find that Lepsius made a statement that he received the papyrus as a gift from Mary Westcar, but academics aren't sure how truthful this is. I guess it's up to you to decide.
A pretty pointless win though, Lepsius couldn't read most of it. It was allegedly stashed away in his attic, only found after his death. Fellow German Adolf Erman cracked the rest of the code in 1890, only to discover that we had some lost works on our hands. The most obvious is the lead story contained on the Westcar Papyrus. Simply known as Story Number 1, pretty much the entire first section is missing, unfortunately. It seems like a tough loss, but at least we can know the rest of the story. Unlike the writings that were scraped off before being overwritten. Yeah, ancient Egyptians couldn't exactly run down to their local Staples in Thebes and buy a stack of paper, so it was more common to take the sheets you already had written on and scrape it off and just reuse it. There have been so many stories lost to time thanks to this practice. Who knows what heroes and monsters might have lasted? We know these older stories were likely written when Egypt's Old Kingdom was in full swing, using an older version of Egyptian hieroglyphs. It likely wasn't until after the First Intermediate Period, during the late Middle Kingdom or Second Intermediate Period, when a scribe removed the earlier work from the scroll. The scholars over at worldhistory.org notes that Middle Kingdom literature consistently harkens back to the good old days of the Old Kingdom, and often uses devices, as in the prophecies of Nefertiti, of setting a tale in the period of the Old Kingdom where someone makes a prophecy concerning future events. So while we don't know for sure, the erased text may have included these common elements. Academics place the newer writings alongside stories like the tale of the shipwrecked sailor, which we already covered on this channel. If you want to check it out, we have a link on screen. We cover lots of writing advice and the history of storytelling on this channel, so hey, we'd love to have you here.
So subscribe and ding the bell to let YouTube know you want to see more.
But yeah, besides the general setting, that's all we really know about the original writings found on the Westcar Papyrus. Luckily, we know a bit more about the oh-so-creatively named Story Number 1. It tells the tale of miracle workers and kings. The narrator is believed to be an unknown son of King Khufu, possibly this guy, who ruled during Egypt's 4th dynasty. While the entire first part is missing, we find the legendary pharaoh Khufu praising the story told by commanding sacrifices be made to the kings and miracle workers featured. The conclusion mentions King Dozier, the first king of the 3rd dynasty of Egypt, best known for his step pyramid, the first pyramid ever built in Egypt, complete with depictions of the ancient Ennead god Osiris. Then the majesty of the king said, "Let an offering be made of 1,000 loaves of bread, 100 jars of beer, 1 ox, and 2 balls of incense to the king of Upper and Lower Egypt. And let there be given 1 cake, 1 jug of beer, a large portion of meat, and 1 ball of incense to the chief lector priest." The chief lector priest likely refers to the king's infamous polymath vizier, Imhotep. Yep, the mummy returns. Imhotep is back. And what was he doing in this story? Bringing the 10 plagues of Egypt? Invoking the sun god Ra? Probably not. If anything, he was probably just designing the pyramids of Giza. Yeah, basically nothing from the Brendan Fraser movies was true about the historical Imhotep. In reality, he was a pretty chill dude. Not the type to, assassinate a pharaoh. And as far as the lost stories of the Westcar Papyrus, that's really all the info we can glean. Luckily, scholars have managed to preserve the other stories contained in this artifact. We can't save every story ever written, but I hope videos like this can shed some light on the adventurers who discovered these, the authors and writers from those distant ancient civilizations, and the stories contained within. Thanks for tuning in, and until next time, keep on writing.
Catch you later, baby.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for listening into today's broadcast. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and ring that bell to never miss another one of our fancy newfangled moving pictures. Tune in next week